Our next guest, folks, this is crazy. He was front and center with Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz this week. His name is Tony Jones. He writes for The Athletic. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yeah, hey, thanks for coming on, Tony. Tony Jones was quarantined. Tony, I just need to know everything. First of all, were you there earlier in the week when Rudy Gobert rubbed down the microphones with his hands, joking around? Ha, ha, ha. A, were you in the room? And B, did he touch your microphone?
I was not in the room, actually.
Lucky guy.
Because I had taken my kids to school at 6:30 in the morning that day, and I had just come off the East Coast road trip. So I said, I'm skipping from and obviously I heard about everything, and I knew that everybody in the room kind of laughed and kind of didn't take it too seriously, and obviously, in hindsight, it looks really ominous, and it's been viral and it's kind of taken off.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to live this one down for a while. So, Tony, let me ask this. You've been around Rudy covering the team. How many years? I'm not sure. But what kind of guy is he? Is he a jokester? Is he serious? Obviously, he's a young guy. Is he married? Does he have kids? Because he's going to be all alone right now in a tough time where he is kind of, I don't want to say patient zero, but in America, coronavirus really arrived when Rudy Gobert was announced to have it.
So I've covered Rudy for every year but one of his career. This is my fifth year with covering the Jazz. He's one of my favorite interviews because he's brutally honest, positive or negative. And he's one of the best quotes that I've ever come across. So as a reporter, he's one of those guys that you kind of dream of. He's off the floor. He's engaging. He's funny. He's eloquent. I think that Rudy. I think the perception is that he's going to have a tough time, and I think he's having a tough time personally with everything that's happened, which is why he apologized in his statement. I think that he realizes the levity and the gravity of the entire situation, when I don't think he realized it in real time. But I also think a lot of us didn't realize the gravity of the situation in real time. Mm-hmm. And I think that when there's a pandemic, it hits different when it hits home. And I think for a lot of us in the last few days, I think that pandemic has hit home.
We're talking with Tony Jones of The Athletic. He covers the Utah Jazz. All right, so Tony, before I get to your situation and being quarantined, I got to ask about the relationship with Donovan Mitchell, who has since tested positive. Do Mitchell and Gobert sit together on the team flights? Are their lockers always next to each other? Is there any clue how he contracted it, but yet nobody else connected to the Jazz did?
I don't think anybody knows. See, that's the thing. I don't think anybody knows how either one of them contracted the illness. They do sit next to each other in the locker room. They are constantly in communication with each other on the floor and off the floor. That's natural because they are the two pillars of the franchise. They are the guys. So their relationship just organically is a close one. They are the same person in that both of them are very, very competitive. They both want to win. I think that there's an age gap between them of about 4 years. So in some ways they're different, but in a lot of ways they're the same. And, they're kind of tied at the hip together in the fact that, they're the two guys that the front office is built around, made decisions around. And, on and off the floor, they are there are a lot of times when they're physically in each other's proximity.
All right, Tony, let's get to Wednesday. We're talking with Tony Jones of The Athletic, covers the Utah Jazz. So Wednesday, Gobert was sick and then tested positive. Can you just talk about what it was like when you got that news? Because nobody was expecting this. And then, of course, tell us about the ordeal where you actually were tested for coronavirus.
Well, it was I could take you back to shoot-around. During shoot-around, it was announced that he was questionable with illness along with Amanda Moutier. And, when we reported it, it was an innocuous shoot-around report. Rudy Gobert and Emmanuel Moutier are both questionable to play on Wednesday night, with illness. And that kind of took off because of, obviously, the coronavirus. And people were like, well, do they have the coronavirus? And we specifically asked the Jazz, hey, can you give us the ability to use language that says that rules out that this is not a coronavirus illness? And we were not given that. And then we, the whole thing went to around tip-off. Rudy was declared out, and then he was declared not out, and then there was question of whether he would play all the way up until about 5 minutes before game time, and then after the game was canceled or postponed, I started getting texts that said, "Hey, this is related to Rudy and an illness." And my teammate at The Athletic, Shams, he had the story in hand and he reported it. And then, my first, it was, then after that, it was just like everything kind of took off. My first thing was, I have to go and get the story. And then, my second thought was, wait a minute, I just had a one-on-one with Rudy Gobert on Saturday night.
Oh, jeez.
So it was a lot of different emotions, and it was a crazy night.
All right, Tony, let me get you out of here with this one. So when you test negative for coronavirus, do they still recommend, hey, it could show up in 2 or 3 days, you should self-quarantine, stay away from your family? Or because you tested negative, it's all good, you can go about your community and blah, blah, blah?
No, definitely quarantine for 14 days.
Oh, wait, so you haven't seen your family since?
No.
Oh, man.
I'm not going home for 2 weeks.
So what are you at? You don't need to give us an address, but what are you, at a hotel or something?
I'm somewhere safe where I'm by myself.
Oh, man. So like, what are you doing for food and stuff?
I'll figure it out. And, I'll get food. I mean, I can get food. I've been told that you can get food. There just has to be nobody in the store, or, it has to be like at off hours.
Really?
Yeah, you're definitely told that it's a 2 to 14 days before you're in the clear. So that's why they recommend you go to 14 days before you're officially cleared.
And then they'll test you again?
No, if you're still asymptomatic by the end of 14 days, the thought process is that you're in the clear. So within the 14 days, if you start showing symptoms, then obviously they'll take the next step.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Tony. Good luck, man. Scary stuff. Tony Jones of The Athletic. Follow him on social media. He covers the team. Tony, good luck, man. Stay healthy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That was Tony Jones. Holy cow, Goulet. He's quarantined. What are you doing for food? He's like, I'll get food. I'll figure it out.
I like some alone time, but 14 days is a lot.
And there's nothing to watch. You can't do anything.
You're going to go to the end of Netflix and back.
But what if you can't even, what if they don't have Netflix at the hotel he's at? What do you do then? I guess just FaceTime people and call oh my goodness. That is a nightmare scenario for your boy.